welcome to this Vampire the Masquerade uh live play podcast. Um, my name is Procyon. I will be your storyteller for this evening. Now let's introduce our mortals. Starting with Van or Savava, if I'm saying it right.
Suava.
Suava.
I am the Peppermint Primal, and I'll be playing Suava this evening, I guess. She is a Nordic woman coming from Denmark who's in her days been training to be her village's skald, which means traveling the world now and trying to find the best stories.
Nico.
Hi, my name is I am my name is Iggy, and I'm going to be playing. I was gonna say Ignam, but no. I'm going to be playing Nicodemus, aka Nico, who is half Greek, half Romanian. Um, Pagan practitioner who gets commissioned by the church to do paintings every so often. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what's gonna happen.
All right. Sasha.
Uh, um, Hi, I'm Usurper1872, and I am playing Sasa Jarvis. He is a 20-year-old cultist scholar from Germany.
All right. Lucian.
My character's name is Lucen Hayes. He's from northern Italy and knows very little about himself other than that he is a knight and has been traveling eastward trying to see what he can do.
All right. Alonso.
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm playing Alonso. He is a vagabond, a little bit of a scofflaw. He grew up in Spain, the third son of a bishop who was going to be a priest, but decided that he didn't believe in all that crap, so he moved on from it. And he became a bit of a pirate, then a kind of smuggler, and he got hold of this black rock that bleeds black sludge a couple of months ago, and he kind of lost an entire year of his life to amnesia, and he's trying to figure out what the hell this thing is.
Right, and those are our mortals for this evening, who I'm sure are going to get through. Sure I'm going to get through. Who I'm sure are going to get through the next few days perfectly fine and alive. So several weeks ago, you received a visit from a richly dressed messenger. He brought you a perfumed invitation to a sumptuous dinner at the manse of Lord Claudius Giovanni. Giovanni is from a wealthy Italian trading family and is as feared as he is respected. Such an invitation is a high honor and one not lightly turned down, even when it is from one as mysterious and distrusted as Lord Giovanni. You get to decide whether your character reacted with shock, gratitude, or terror, but you chose to go. Those from the lower social orders may conceivably be terrified at the prospect of being called upon to dine with the great and powerful, and may aspire to nothing more than getting home with their heads intact. When an ornate carriage arrived for you, you packed your possessions, said farewell to your bewildered friends and family, and set off on what may likely be the longest trip you have ever taken, into the dark wilds of the Carpathian woods. After a fortnight of jarring travel through rough roads, mud, and pouring rain, you arrive late at night at the Red Lamb, a cozy inn where most of the travelers are also on the road to the Giovanni Manse. The dinner at the manse is to be held the following evening, and you are to stay at the inn for the night. The game now begins. And so, each one of you, I'll say that each one of you or the five of you arrive at the outside the inn at about the same time. It's still raining somewhat lightly. Let me change the image on Roll20. it's still raining, and the moon can be seen through the clouds, but barely. Um, Unlike the last fortnight, the rain is beginning to lessen up, but you do each one of you all arrive outside the inn at about the same time. We can go in the same order and have each of you describe what your characters look like and what they do when they arrive. And I believe we have our groups traveling are, let's see. We have Suava and Sasha arriving together, and we have Alonso and um, Nico arriving together. So uh, we will start with the loner. I get yep. Yep. So we'll start with the loner Lucen. So what do you look like? And what's the first thing you do when you arrive at the outside the inn?
So it's raining, huh?
Yep.
I will try to get underneath something so to get out of the rain as quickly as possible. Dressed in a fairly nice looking, tabard and just general outfit. Dark colors mostly, like blacks and dark grays. And trying to just figure out what's going on.
All right. So as soon as you step out of the carriage,
I'm more curious than afraid of this whole invitation because I suspect I've got some sort of enemies back in Italy, and as far as I know, Giovanni could be one of them, or he might have information on them that might help me. I don't know, but I want to find out.
all right. So I'll say, ducking the rain, you head into the inn and probably don't even notice the other uh, people arriving in their own carriages. So Sasha and Spava, will do you guys' arrival next. Same situation. It's still raining somewhat lightly than it had been the past fortnight, but you guys just arrived outside the Red Lamb Inn.
With it being raining, Sasha will hand his cloak over to Suava so she doesn't get wet. He's wearing his finery because his father said you best make a good impression or bad things. So he appears to be very nervous, maybe a little bit jittery. He's generally dressed in black and gray with green accents.
And Guava, you're with Sasha, who's looking not not as not as happy as you'd think he would be. Well, admittedly, these land customs are somewhat foreign to you, but you'd think he should be happier.
Yeah, because she on the other hand sees this as a means of gathering more information. Because if we're going to be eating at such a prestigious merchant's place, there's bound to be something that she can write down or even, swing into some kind of interesting song here or there. But compared to Sasha, Suava is a smaller framed woman who is trying to dress her best, but probably is not to the degree that Sasha is. Other than his cloak, she has on a fairly fine dress in the darker bluish kind of steel gray color. And her hair is kind of pinned up into a traditional braid that she's used to wearing back in her time at her village.
All right. So I'm assuming you guys both go into the Red Lamb together, assuming trying to avoid the rain as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And the last pair to arrive will be Nico and Alonso. So, uh, finally, after you guys probably, I don't want to say arrived last, but you guys got out of the your cart last. So just upon arriving after all of this travel, what do we'll start with whoever wants to start first. What do you guys look like? What are you guys up to?
So Nico is going to be stepping out. I want to say he dresses in a manner that's kind of as middle class as you can get in this time period. He's not so lavish, but he looks also pretty well off, is the best way to describe it. He's not really one to wear like copious amounts of jewelry, but he does have like a chain around his neck, but it tucks inside his shirt and everything. And Nico looks a little odd, if not because his hair is a very dark brown, but if it was like a few shades lighter, it would be very much red. And his eyes are a very peculiar green as well. But other than that, he doesn't look so lost. He kind of looks like he's a bit familiar with this area, but not like 100%. He is familiar with certain things here and there, but he's not like 100% lost here. If that makes any sense.
Well, you want to make sure you look good enough because when do you get the opportunity to carouse with people like Lord Giovanni?
Mm-hmm.
Alonso looks like he's in his early 40s, but it feels like his face is looking a little bit older than that. Like he just looks more tired than he should look. He's relatively nondescript. He's wearing pretty good, very dark brown and black like riding clothes, like journeying clothes. So he's wearing the right clothes, but I think they're a little bit actually too good for around here. Like on the coasts, they might kind of be sensible, but they're really. It doesn't look like I should be from around here. It looks like I should be on a ship, not in a carriage. And I probably look a little bit green around the gills because I haven't had enough to drink, and I want to get into the bar immediately to get something to drink.
Okay, so each one of you walk in roughly about, I'll say, Lucen walked in first. Suava and Sasha arrived made it in not long after he did. Nico and Luke follow in upon arriving. Let me change area now.
Ooh.
Cozy.
So, upon arriving, you can see that a roaring hearth fire banishes the night's chill and gloom from the spacious common room inside the red lamp. You can see there are a few tables. Most of them are unoccupied, but the only other people in the inn are what looks to be the innkeeper sitting behind a semi-large wooden bar. He's dressed in clothing that doesn't. It looks what you would consider in this time to be lower middle class. It's more raggy and dirty than you would expect. There looks to be a young soldier sitting at another table, and an old beggar woman, and what looks to be a monk who's definitely dressed as if he is one. Um, and as you soon arrive, you guys all can see each other. So this is the first time that you've all met. You would know that this inn has been set out in advance that all of the people here are traveling to the Giovanni match. So Suava and Sasha, you can see Nico, Alonso, and Lucian. So this opportunity to get to know each other first.
Hello, I'm Alonso Marome from Sicily. Who might you all be? Oh, this is my companion, my riding companion, Nico, as well.
Hello.
Yes.
Hmm?
I had to yell. Stop. Solvik just kind of looks over it. Shasa like gesturing as if he wants to go first, or
Ooh, uh, Shasa will look to her, then back to the group in front of them, then back to her, then back to the group, and give a sort of soft smile and introduce himself. He's, I am Sasha Jarvis. It is a pleasure to meet you all tonight. Oh,
And-
Miss.
oh.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I am Suava. It's nice to meet you all.
Can I buy all of you drinks? Oh, and what's your name?
Lucen Hayes, at your service. May I assume that all of you also have invitations?
Of course, yeah, of course. Why would we be here otherwise? None of us seem to actually be from around here.
My mother's side is probably more familiar with the area, but I haven't really talked with them in some time, so this is still something of a new experience for me here.
Really, you have family possibly here?
Yeah, my mother's side, they mostly lived over here before. A good portion of them went a little down south. Right, this is like a little farther down south from Greece. I'm just asking, oh, silly, because I suck at my geography. But yeah, some of my mother's family, long time ago, went a little further south, and that's where my mom met my dad. And not Murder She Wrote, but that's how the story goes.
What of the other the other two? I know you said you're from Sicily.
Yes, that's
Originally from Spain, but I have lived in Sicily for the last 2 decades. Yeah.
Solvik
And,
kind of looks expectingly at Lucen.
yeah.
I traveled from northern Italy. That's about as much as I'm capable of saying.
And on that note, the innkeeper waves you guys to come, or beckons for you guys to come over to the bar so that he can greet you and say hello.
Oh, drinks. Good.
Why can he not come to us?
He's sitting behind the bar. Lazy.
He's sitting behind the bar.
Listen, he's
so
doing a job.
He's doing his job,
Okay,
right?
and we'll say that
Like-
he waves for one of the nearby servants, and one of the nearby servants walks up and guides all of you together to one of the other one of the empty tables. And you can see and then the innkeeper gets up and he walks over to your table with a small or he walks up to sorry. He walks up to your table and he says, "Greetings. Greetings. We are here to meet our part of the group heading to the Giovanni Manse, yes?"
Yes.
I must ask, where are each of you from? Some of you look rather, or some of you are rather different than the people that usually come around here. So, where are you from? Or where do you hail from?
What language is he speaking?
Italian. He'd be speaking Italian.
From Sicily. I would love a whiskey as well, if you could.
And he takes not a quill, but just a he will write with He takes out a piece of parchment and writes that down on it.
Good
Um,
man.
So you're from Sicily. What's your name?
Oh, Alonso Marone.
Alonso Marone. I am Sigismund is what they call me.
Biggest one. Mm.
Sigismund. Like,
Mm. I'll
where do the rest
nod
of you
like
hail
I
from?
got that.
Sigismund. So Sigimund.
I'll do my best not to butcher that later.
Where do the rest of you hail from, if you don't mind me asking?
I come from a small town named Berlin in Germany.
Berlin? Wow, you must have had a long pilgrimage to get here.
It was, and it is an incredible opportunity and one I could not afford not to take.
I actually fell asleep a few times on the trip. But
Yes, I'm glad I made a wonderful fellow for you.
oh, well, what am I gonna do? Like you only see the trees so many times.
Oh,
I would say things about how you would have been a better fellow for me, but I won't in fear of violence.
Ignore my friend. I'm from Denmark.
Denmark. Wow. May I ask what, or just the invitation from Lord Giovanni brings you here? But wow, that is quite the distance.
It is.
I
I
must
was
say,
at
I've
least-
never met a Norse. I've never met those from that area. I've never met anyone from that area before.
It is definitely different. I don't. I'm still adjusting. You people do not eat fish as much. It's really weird.
Well, it's different tastes, different places, I suppose.
Well, this area is landlocked, dear, so it might be hard to get it.
That's true too. What about the rest of you?
I am. Well, full name is Nicodemus Veduva. I'm from Greece.
And how is your pilgrimage?
It was a long journey, that much I can say, honestly. But, I like the long journeys every so often. Well, as much as I can help it anyway. I'm assuming that the invitation that Lord Giovanni gave to me was, sent for me, was something probably about a commissioned painting. I mean, my work has been very busy at the Vatican lately that sometimes I just go wherever they send me. But this is a nice little personal trip, and I hope to yield some experience from this.
Well, I know my small inn is nothing compared to the manse of Lord. It's going to be nothing compared to the manse of Lord Giovanni, but I hope you do enjoy your stay while you're here.
Of course, I most definitely will.
And who hasn't spoken yet? Lucen, right?
Yeah. I am. I'm called Lucen Hayes. I hail from northern Italy, though I'm not entirely sure how the invitation found me while I was traveling the road eastward. But perhaps it was Providence that I was heading in this direction already.
Money. It was money. Money can buy anything.
Well, if you ask Lord Giovanni, I'm sure sure that's one thing he would say. And he walks away for a second, and then a couple minutes later, he walks back with whiskey and has a couple of servants bring what looks to be a stew. Those of you who are from the higher social orders, such as like Nico, would recognize this stew as being simple in comparison to what you'd normally eat. And Sigismund says, begging your forgiveness for this simple stew. It's nothing like what Lord Giovanni serves, you lucky devils, but it will fill ye till tomorrow. And he gives the whiskey to Alonso and places this stew in front of each of you. And then he says, so may I ask, what are each of your professions? I'm curious as to maybe that's why Lord Giovanni sent for you.
I was a courier, and I owned my own trading ship. Sadly, it sailed into ground about a year ago, I think. I can't quite remember, but I was able to save enough, and I've retired at the old age of 42.
I see, you're retired. How about you, Lucen? What's your profession?
I would consider myself a knight errant. I no longer have a lord to serve, but I still travel. I'm traveling to try to make people's lives better.
That's a noble profession. How about you, Sasha?
Oh, I'm an academic or a scholar in ancient occultist type things. Well, at least that's what I was learning from my father.
Interesting.
Yeah, Nico's gonna
How about-
eye that. He's gonna be like, we got things to
How
talk
about-
about later.
How about the other two? Suava and Nicodemus, is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, ladies first.
Oh, thank you. I am a skald. I am going to one day hopefully be able to sing the songs of great praise, and hopefully that actually gets us more money.
Oh, I've never heard that term before.
I
What is it?
believe you around here they're called musicians, poets.
Bards.
She's like fumbling for the word. Yeah.
Bard, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah, bard. I guess the Northman version of it. I suppose. And how about you, Nico?
I'm a painter. I normally paint a lot of paintings for the church every so often. It's where I get most of my income from. Not to brag it, but that's what I know. That's where I mostly. That's what I mostly do for my work, and occasionally I do personal projects here and there. But I mostly deal with painting.
Interesting. And don't. Well, I will leave you to eat. Don't mind the other the the soldier over there. He's been he's been staying here for a few nights, and the other two, we're expecting some more guests. I will warn you. And then he walks off back to the bar, and you guys are left to eat your food. But not long after you start to eat, not long after you begin eating, you can hear some more soldiers walk in from outside, and they announce, and they say, announcing the arrival of Mariana, and who walks in after that looks to be an 18-year-old girl dressed in, from what you can tell, dressed in a dress that's, based on the quality and the and how worn it is, she's definitely a peasant. And she walks over, and she well, not to your table. She's led to a different one, as the soldiers move on to the next, and as this large group of people show up, announcing Alesso Bellini. He's dressed as if he's a shepherd who looks to be about 20. The look in his eyes betray a sense of he's of Italian descent and has short brown hair and brown eyes. His eyes betray that he's quite reluctant to be here. So we'll just move on to the next, saying, announcing Agnolo Cellini. And this guy's dressed as if he's a baker. He's of Italian descent. He's got paler skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. And then as he moves in to his own table, the next person to walk in is announcing Lucia Gasparo, and she looks to be about 18. She's got dirty red hair and brown eyes, and she's definitely dressed in peasant clothing. And the soldier moves on to the next, announcing Leonardo Rosso. This guy looks to be about 40. He's definitely a noble. He's dressed in noble finery. He just oozes condescension toward everyone, and he looks very uncomfortable to be here. And he just kind of walks off as if he's like, above everybody else. The next person to walk in, the soldier announces as Azaf, and this guy's definitely a Turk. He's Middle Eastern descent with dark skin and a frame befitting a soldier. He's wearing simple Turkish robes, and the expression on his face is a mix of concern and curiosity. And as he moves in, the next person to walk in, again dressed like a priest, like the other monk, and he's announced as Bernardio of Siena. He's definitely a priest. He looks to be about 63. He's got dark brown hair and brown eyes. He looks pretty happy to be here. And the last person to walk in is about a 30-year-old, definitely a Romanian gypsy. He's wearing the long, heavy coat, which soaked from the rain, and he's announced as Alexandru. So each one of these people are all sitting in their own tables, or sitting. So here in the inn with you, there's the soldier who was here initially, the monk who was here at first. There's the old woman, and then these people. So as you guys are giving your food and eating, these guys all are announced and walk in.
They got announced. I'm jealous.
It's a lot of people to be housing for one dinner.
Nico's just keeping his eyes out. If anyone really notices, they'll notice how his look kind of he squints his eyes very pointedly at the monks or priest that might be coming in, but he looks kind of calmer the moment he sees I guess the Romanian gypsy that's there as well. So he's kind of another one. But that's really it when it comes to Nico.
Not long after these people arrive, the initial monk who was here, who by the way had been spitting every time someone mentioned Lord Giovanni, he'd been spitting on the floor every time someone mentioned him. And he goes up to each one of, or actually first to the five of you, starting with Suava, and he says, "Listen to me, brothers. Listen to me, sister. An evil has entered Christendom from the lands to the south, an ill wind from the land of the heathen. Know ye the wind I mean? It is the wind of the devil. Tell me, what know ye of your host?" And he's definitely that type of that very preachy kind of, almost like
Yeah, Suava kind of just wait,
no,
what?
the especially annoying kind of priest, the ones that go door to door.
An Angelicist?
No, kidding.
I understand that he is a wealthy merchant.
And he just has a look of dismissal on his face. It says, "Tomorrow ye enter into the abode of evil. Shun it, reject it, cast it out. Go ye not. Claudius Giovanni is the very devil incarnate."
That's what people say about all the rich merchants.
And tax collectors, last I looked at it.
If you haven't anything interesting to say, do, I say this politely, shove off.
to him and say, I'm curious, what makes you say this of our soon-to-be host?
Haven't you heard the tales? The tales of diabolical sacrifices being made in that manner where the devil is raised by a mockery of the Last Supper.
No,
No.
I would say something similar to my own people.
I've heard very
Probably.
few tales of any sort. Please enlighten me.
People go missing. They end up are found either dead or supposedly sacrificed to the devil for the pleasure of Lord Giovanni and his hosts. I've even seen him hosting Turks here.
If they go missing, how do you know they've been sacrificed?
Where else would
could've
they
just-
have gone? Clearly Giovanni's be sacrificing them to the devil. Clearly.
Did you see a carriage leave with them soon after? I'm pretty sure they just
No.
left.
Have you ever been to the manse?
Of course not. As I said, it's the abode of evil.
Then
Claudius Giovanni is the devil incarnate, and then as he says Giovanni, he again spits on the floor, which he's done twice, by the way, since he showed up.
if you've never been there to verify these rumors, then how are we to believe anything that you say?
And he kind of like he looks dejected, rhetorically beaten, but like he sees he says, "I see you are not willing to listen to my warnings. I have warned you," and then he kind of walks off, kind of into like a hop toward the other guests, and he starts giving that same speech to them. I'd say very loud, very loud, very invasive kind of speech to them.
If he spits again, I'm going to walk up to him and ask him to kindly stop spitting on our good host's floor.
And if he and Nico kind of just like, it's odd for the next few words that are going to come out his mouth, but he's just going to be like, and if he continues, are you going to do something about it? I don't say that as insulting, but if he did keep doing it, what would you do?
You seem strong enough to throw him outside.
Mm-hmm.
Is this normal for priests to do?
No, but then again, who says anything priests do is normal? And Nico just says that very, very off the cuff, very matter of fact, as he like continues to eat his stew, very nonchalant. So it's like, if y'all didn't know he had disdain earlier, he's not really making an effort to really hide it, even though sometimes he gets paid by these guys. You can tell he's kind of like, yeah. You can tell his attitude's very like.
Sasha will look to Suava as like the priests that we've seen back home never acted in such a in such a manner as this.
I would say.
It seems against what they've been taught.
You'll be surprised about the church doing a lot of things that they preach and they don't actually follow.
Oh, I am quite aware.
Oh. Like Nico's like, oh, we gotta talk more. Like, ooh,
Yeah, he had
wait.
to look just at the and
Does he spit on the floor again, though?
As he's speaking to each of the 13, you could see him. He does it. He does it another time. Like every time he talks to one of them, he does it. Every time he mentions the word Giovanni, he does it.
Yes. But I will legitimately walk up to him and just make myself tall and somewhat imposing and speak to him and say, your warnings are appreciated and heeded, but please do not trouble our good host by sullying his floor with your spittle.
You actually have thoughts on intimidation. You do. So can you do me a favor and roll for me charisma, or not manipulation, intimidation.
Okay. that work
First
in
roll of the
in game?
night.
How do we roll d10? Or
I
how
think
do we
it's
roll
5
that?
dice for you.
How do we
Slash
There are
R
actually a couple ways. You can
5d10.
do it straight from the sheet. You can like make make it a dice pool in the dice section of the sheet.
Yeah, I
if
got
you
lots
were-
of dice myself,
Yeah, or you can just roll it yourself. Or you can just roll it yourself. Tell me what the numbers are.
yeah, so
I think it's 5 dice for you.
3, 7, 8, 8, 9.
3, 7, 9. Okay, that is
4.
9. 4 successes. Okay, yes. So you walk right up to this guy, and you've got a pretty built frame, looking like you. In your case, your frame is very intimidating, and as you stand up tall, like right over him, because you're taller than he is.
If I recall correctly, I've got myself listed at 6'2" and 220 pounds.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, so you're
I am
pretty.
I'm very tall and muscular build for this time of period.
Yes, you're very tall as you walk up to this guy, get right up in his face, and just make your request, and he kind of like seeing you, kind of immediately crumbles and shies away. He says, "I very well."
Thank you, good sir. As I said, your warnings are acknowledged and appreciated. I appreciate your cooperation, as I'm sure our hosts do as well.
I mean, not especially appreciated, but
Yeah, Nico's eyeing that, and he's just like, oh. Well, there's a moment where he looks a little disappointed that like this didn't erupt in the way that he wanted it to, but he's like,
out of character, there's a good chance this guy would have gotten tossed on his ass if he had kept up doing that.
yeah, nah. So like, Nico's like eyeing the display. He's just kind of like, he looks somewhat a little sad, but at the same time, he's very much like he kind of like composes himself real quick and is like, at least he stopped.
Sasha will give small golf clap when he comes back to the table. What a
And,
one! What a nice display there, Lucian.
Lucen. Has something to do with light. I don't recall finer point name. Yeah.
Yeah, I am trying to constant. Clement, I'm trying. And he's intimidated. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, the next thing that happens is that young soldier that had been there, he walks up toward Lucen specifically, and as he walks, you can tell he's limping. If those of you who are trained in medicine, if any of you are, I don't think any of you are. Then.
Nope.
I have 1 dot medicine.
This is going to go swimmingly for us in the future.
I'm sure it's fine. It's fine.
Who needs
So as he walks over, he says, first to Lucen, that was very impressive. From the looks of it, you're a soldier, right?
I was a knight, so a step up from soldier, perhaps.
So he says, I have no learning, nor skills, nor farming, not a trade. I know no other life than soldiering, and I cannot travel on long marches anymore. I'm told Lord Giovanni is hiring many men. If you will not have me, I know not where to turn. Do you think, since you have been invited to Lord Giovanni's manse, do you think that you'd be willing to put in a good word for me, maybe?
Perhaps I could. What is your name, sir? What
I'm
deeds
Paul.
have you done?
I'm Paul. I'm fresh from Crusader Janos. I'm gonna butcher this. Hunniades battles against the Turks from the Crusades. I unfortunately was crippled by by a deep wound in my leg.
Most unfortunate, but an honorable wound, to be certain. If if the opportunity arises, I will indeed put in a good word for our host.
He bends his head to he bends his head to all of you and says, I thank each of you for this, for your future health. As I said, I know not where else to turn.
Of course. No worries. We'll definitely pitch in a good word.
Yeah, yes, sure, of
And
course, yes.
Like the one time Nico is like actually nice.
I see why not.
And as he gets, I think you've all answered the affirmative, or has Alonso?
Yep.
Yep. And he limps back to the table he came from.
Shame that he got crippled fighting God's war. Yeah.
Like,
Clearly they weren't in his favor that day.
Well, there
I'm going
is
to,
some honor in at least fighting for our cause.
That
though
is
I
true.
can't really agree with that.
yeah, I can't really agree with much of what they do, but I'm getting paid, so
And you
might
say
as-
you paint for them.
I paint for them, but let's just say I like putting things in there that they don't really notice.
So I'm actually
And-
kind of like leans forward, kind of interested. Like, what kind of things are we talking?
Literally leans over and whispers into her ear, like, just, symbols of the pagans. And just, like, leans back a little bit.
Vermell, she's like this blank expression, just like, what?
Oh.
What kind are we?
So,
She doesn't like want to oust Sasha, but she definitely like looks at Sasha and then like back at Nicodemus.
it's like, and he leans back in again. It's just like, I like to paint the symbols of my mother's religion into the paintings, and hardly any of them don't notice.
Oh. He.
My mother's
He'll-
religion is not the same as theirs.
Sasha will lean over. That's because the Catholicists, they're idiots and can't see what's already shoved up their end.
Wait. Can Nico hear this?
Yes.
No, Nico will nod his head very enthusiastically at this. It's like, yes, no, all of what he just said, very true. All of it.
I'm not listening to this. I'm busy eating my stew, which I find very tasty.
I'm not listening.
No, I'm like I'm not even trying not to listen. I'm just not paying attention because I'm actually hungry, and this stew is pretty good.
There you go.
So still kind of like leaned over. She looks over at I'm sorry, Luke. I can't remember how to say your character's
Nico?
name. No, Luke's character.
Alonso?
Yeah, she looks over at him and she's like, "And you, where is the farthest place you've been in your travels?"
Oh. Jerusalem? I've been everywhere in the Mediterranean, basically.
Which one was the most rememberable?
Ooh. Sicily. A beautiful island. I keep coming back there for I don't even know why.
She wants to
Like,
write
I
a song
really-
about it.
Not that, but
Hmm,
yes, learning things is good.
hmm. Greece was also beautiful.
That it was.
Everywhere in the Mediterranean is beautiful.
You should try going to Germany. Our countryside is quite breathtaking.
Yes.
Not to mention our unique cultural tastes, son. He points to the alcohol.
I could appreciate it for that. I have heard tale of giant bears that eat men, though.
I
Oh,
haven't
that-
eaten one yet.
Oh, really?
Well, that's only if you go into the Forbidden Forest. You'll be fine if you don't go there.
Ooh, I mean, the problem for me is when you call something forbidden, I normally like going wherever you say is forbidden. So
And Nico will kind of agree. It's like normally if it's called forbidden, either they have something in there that they don't want people to find out, or it is actually like legitimately dangerous.
and then I would want to know what makes it so dangerous.
All right.
I
Okay. So
don't-
how about this? Is it they're only in the forest of bright shining rainbows?
So about these giant bears.
Yes,
So they're real.
they are black bears.
They tell stories about them on some of the Germans who come down and man the ships in the Mediterranean. They tell stories about them.
Oh, I'm sure they are probably over exaggerated.
And then the people who kill the bears and then wear their skin and then become the bears.
That's quite unfortunate and makes me quite sad. But that does happen on occasion.
Perhaps I should have headed north instead of east.
But they generally only attack when they feel threatened, like any animal.
Wait, Sasha, you did not.
Yes. What?
There's actually bears that are bull.
What? What,
You
Sheffer?
didn't deny what he said.
Okay.
The men who kill bears and wear their pelts and then become bears. That's the story they told on the ships.
Yes, I
I
remember
heard
it a
there were
little bit.
like a group of warriors, be like a dozen or so of them.
Are you talking about the people that shapeshift into bears?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, those are just oh, sweetheart. Those are just legends. That's not real.
Legends. Yeah. Like God. Yeah.
Like
But certainly
stories we tell young children to get them to stay in bed.
But certainly there's some truth to those legends, are there not?
I mean,
Maybe not the transformation into the bear, but still, probably there's legends about them, about those who wear the pelts.
yes.
Hmm.
It is generally why people don't wander around in the forests on their own. Safety in numbers and whatnot.
Of course.
I've seen incredible, scary things out there. And I think anyone who doesn't believe that there's things out there that we don't know about or we haven't been told about is a fool to think that they're not real. Or at least live with the
And
possibility that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And before you guys can even finish your food, some more people arrive.
More?
Total of about 4. There are one is a slightly built, well-dressed man, and they're all wearing the Giovanni. There are two armed soldiers wearing the Giovanni crest, along with a slightly built, well-dressed man whose aristocratic features are marred by a deep scar that runs down the right side of his face from his hairline to his chin. And the other one is a tall, ruddy-faced young man who wears coachman's leathers and a large wooden cross around his neck. The one with the scar on his face introduces himself as I am Sir Lothar, steward to Lord Giovanni. I am he who selected the 13 of you from among the great masses of folk to meet the Lord. This is Rodrigo. He is the coachman whose duty it is to bring you to the Lord's manse on the morrow. And then he walks specifically to each of you. He doesn't start with the 5 of you. He starts with Mariana and goes walks over to each one of them, and right, and actually, right there we go. How high is everyone? How many total dice does everyone have in perception plus awareness?
3.
4.
Ooh,
Perception, awareness.
5.
Awareness. 4.
I am decently alert, but not aware.
All right. I'll say that you notice as he's talking to each individual person, he does take their hand and hold it for a bit, but then as he moves toward you guys, he starts with Alonso, and he takes your hand and says, "Welcome to Lord Giovanni's holdings. I am pleased you've graced us with your company. I hope your stay is an agreeable and memorable one." And as he says this, he takes Alonso. He takes your hand and holds it for entirely too long to be appropriate, uh, uh, caressing it, and he lifts your hand to his nose, sniffing it almost as if he's sniffing for something. And this is way uncomfortable. um,
I played this
What?
game with people before out in the sea. I stare him directly in the eyes. This is a challenge to authority. I understand this deeply. So I'll look at him dead in the eyes as he does this with a big smile and say, "Thank you so much for the invitation."
Is this an intimidation gesture or a
No, no, no.
creep,
Just I
creeping
won't
gesture?
be I won't be cowed by uncomfortable situations in public. I'll get right down in the mud with you. Let's stare at each other and deeply in the eyes.
Let's see. How...
Yes.
Sasha will lean over to Schwava. Blistering romance.
Who do you think's gonna win?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But our friend looks like the bottom, so
Okay, so I would like you, Alonso, to roll for me.
Oh.
I want to say this isn't you're trying to intimidate him, so I want to say either let's see. I would like to say either manipulation. I'll say
Leadership?
manipulation. Yeah, I could go with that. Yeah, we'll say
Leadership,
manipulation,
nice.
leadership.
Nice. That's 6 for me. 10, 8, 4, 10, 2, 10.
that's a lot of
Right,
tens.
so that is that's 4 successes. No wait, hang on, yeah, 4 successes. So let me roll for him real quick. It's gonna be and that is, I have it for him.
I think you as a /GM roll.
Yeah. That is only 1 success. Okay, so Alonso, in your particular case, you are he is the one that backs off first. And uh as it seems to like as he's still holding Alonso's hand the entire time, as they're like staring at each other's eyes for way too long. Eventually it just gets too awkward even for Lothar. As he just releases your hand and moves on next to Lucen, who does the same thing as he did before and does the same kind of creepy hand holding sniffing thing.
I'm actually just when he goes for my hand, I'm gonna grasp his hand and hold it very tightly and say to him, "Well met, sir. Fine to see it's fine to see another night on the field, another night here." And then if he wants to
And-
sniff me, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, he takes your hand, shakes it, and he gives you a smile that looks almost and gives you a smile, and a firm handshake, and does do the sniffing thing. Yes. Uh, um, And then he moves on next to who's gonna do that creepy thing for next. We'll say Nico.
Nico takes his hand and just shakes it. It's like a pleasure.
And he does a he sniffs your hand and holds it for way too long.
Nico kind of just looks very unfazed by it. He's just very kind of like strange land, strange customs. He kind of remembers something like kind of familiar with his mom's family, like from the stories that he's heard and from people who still keep the old habits. So he's just assuming that this is just a very common habit up here. So he's just kind of like, I'm used to this kind of thing.
Those of you who do live in this area know it's very much not. And next he moves over to Sasha and does the exact same thing. He says
So
he's
he
pleased
will
to,
he will pull his hand back before he gets a chance to touch it. Just like that. That is quite all right. It is a pleasure to meet you. But my hand is not my hair, and neither probably smell good right now. So no, that's okay. You don't have to. Yeah.
All right. He just kind of shrugs and moves over to. I think the only person left is Slava. He does the same thing. He reaches to take your hand and do the same weird sniffing thing.
Yeah, she tries not to make it aware that she thinks it's a little weird. If by a little I mean a lot weird.
Do you want me to have you roll for that?
Yeah, what? I don't.
It's up to you whether you want to roll for it or not, since we're not really like,
Yeah, she hides it well enough, I'll say.
Okay. hides it well enough. But she also knows she shouldn't disrespect the people that work for her intended host. So when he's done with all the greetings, as creepy as they were, all right. Okay, hang on. And when he's done with the greetings, he walks toward the center of the room and he says, "It is good that you are all assembled. Our Lord is eagerly awaiting the joy of serving you tomorrow. You are most fortunate to have captured his attention. This is a day your loved ones will long remember." And someone in the group of 13 gets up and says, the nobly dressed one, the one you would recognize as Leonardo Rosso, the 40-year-old Italian noble, he says, "Sir, I have a question. Why have serfs been invited to this meeting?" And Lothar immediately glares him down and says, "Are you questioning the wisdom of your betters?" And then he recovers his composure and says, "Even members of the lower orders may find favor with the Lord of the Nats." And I would like who here has actually lived. Actually, you can all make this roll. I would like you all to roll perception awareness.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Do you type rolling however many d10? Is that how it works?
Slash roll.
Yeah, you can do /roll space and then 4D whatever have you, or -R space. It still counts.
Hold on.
Well, there's two perfectly average rolls.
You said perception and
Awareness.
Okay.
Look at you rolling a 10.
All right, so let me see. Has everybody rolled?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3. 3 successes for Sasha. 1, 2,
Well, I rolled a
3
1, so 1 gets taken away, so it's 2.
Yeah. The difficulty was 6, so
Oh.
it's 2, 3. So yeah, dog. Yeah. So 2 successes for Sasha. 2 successes for Slava, 2 successes for 2 successes for Alonso, none for Lucen, and 3. Okay, Nico, you are the only one that can recall that you actually saw Lothar in your village once before. But you're the only one that recognizes that.
Seen him before. I've seen him before.
Where?
He was posted outside my village. I recognize him.
He did say
said
he
he-
was the one that was scouting.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he probably traveled very far, very, very far. But I mean, yeah, he probably just traveled around, probably scouted us ahead of time, and then, probably then probably sent the invitations. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, when the men's lord has money, you would expect such.
Yeah.
Probably paid for his transportation back and forth. Lord Giovanni must be really,
He is.
yeah.
Fabulously wealthy.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah,
Beyond
that's what I
probably
said.
your wildest dreams.
I was about to say something modern about that, but never mind.
No, do not make this man. Try making this man your sugar daddy. No.
Listen, you don't know my life. But it's like, yeah, Lord Giovanni must have a lot. My God.
Have you not heard of the Giovannis?
I heard of them. I've heard they were incredibly wealthy, but in order to send one man or several scouts out, for, well, us or 13 people, no less, he must have pretty good reach.
Let's start with earrings.
You had to pick this one. I swear to God. I know this one too. Listen, it's royalty free. We don't want to get sued.
I do not need strikes on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. And after that announcement, Paul at this point, Paul kind of like he kind of like not nudges his head. I want to say nudges his head, but kind of like half just motions it towards him. Like, are you gonna I don't know, help with, or gonna make the recommendation to him? Like, because at that point, actually, instead of doing that, Paul will make that motion, but then he'll get up and kind of limp his way toward Lothar and speak to him. It looks, from your perspective, he's brushing him off. Lothar is
Good word.
brushing. Yeah.
Like Nico will see this. It's like, oh, the good word. Pitching a good word.
I'll stand up and take a couple of steps over to Lothar.
Yeah, Swallow would even get up to help.
Just to clarify, Lothar was Lothar the one that shook all of our hands creepily, or is he
Yes.
the other guy? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. The other guy is Rodrigo, and he is
Rodrigo,
he's
that's
kind of
right. He's the coach.
yeah. Rodrigo's
Okay.
yeah, he's the coachman. He's kind
That's
of
what I
like
was trying
off.
to remember which one was which. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rodrigo's the really creepy one with the scar. The coachman is, and then Rodrigo is or Lothar is the creepy one with the scar. Rodrigo is the coachman.
Let's say, I, speak to him. It's like, good sir, if this poor man was injured in service of a greater good, if you or your master have anywhere that you could make of use or find use for him, it would be appreciated.
he looks at. How many of you approached? Just the two of you, or you and Slava? Just the two of you?
I could help too. I'm a sweet talker.
Okay. All right.
Wait, hold on. What are my stats? Wait a minute. Wait, let me look at this shit. Wait a minute.
Sasha will,
I've actually got some decent rolls for this kind of stuff, probably.
as
Like
do I.
Nico also
Sasha will help.
Yeah, Nico will go. He'll also vouch.
Okay.
Everybody
Alright,
will vouch,
so,
I guess.
We can actually do this as a teamwork. As teamwork. So I believe when B20 that is you guys that help would roll whatever stats I say and however many successes you get. That's extra dice the main person is can roll when they try and do it. So who's gonna be the main person?
I'm gonna roll the die.
If I can use charisma and expression, which is what I would think makes sense here,
I could.
like to try that.
I have 5 dice in charisma and etiquette.
Yeah, I would have 5
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
charisma
say-
expression.
I would have 5 for charisma etiquette.
Well, you guys can use either one, whichever one is higher. But who's going to be the quote main person? Because how this would work was the helpers would roll their dice first, and then their number of successes would be extra dice that the main person gets to roll when they make their roll.
I feel like it would have been a bit of a duty of mine. I would feel obligated to speak up on his behalf.
Okay,
And
we'll say Lucen's the main. I would like everyone else to roll me charisma and either etiquette or etiquette or expression, whichever is higher.
I did not help.
What the fuck?
You helped.
Yeah.
Sasha still creeped out by him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, give me just a second because I just want to make sure I have this. Can you say charisma and expression?
Charisma, expression, or etiquette, whichever one's higher.
Etiquette. Yeah, nah, the expression's the highest one, so we're gonna try that.
All right, so that is. Okay, so that is going to be. So, Sasha, Suava, Alonso, and Nico, all of you guys start collectively spinning a tale of how noble Paul is for having fought and been injured in the Crusades. And I would like Lucen to roll me either. You're going to roll charisma and expression or etiquette with 1, 2, 5. 6 extra dice.
Alright, let's see if I actually roll well, though. I rolled terribly! All the dice!
Well, I mean,
Wow, okay.
I wouldn't say
let's
it's
see.
terrible. Like -2. Oh, -2. Then 1. So -2. Hold on. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Wait. 1, 2.
But the 1 takes away one of the successes.
Depending on what the
6,
difficulty is, that might
7.
be 3 at best. 2 or 3.
7 -2. So yeah. So wait, -2. That would be
Yes.
5. I think.
Yeah, hang on. So let me see. I put difficulty. Oh wait, I dropped the difficulty by 1 because of your help. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 5 successes.
Oh,
Okay, so Lucen. Yes, well, extra help and plus you can thank Slava's excellent tail weaving for that one.
You see,
You are a
something
storyteller.
crippled
Go figure,
God
you're
tier.
just telling a story.
She sings a song about Paul.
Exactly.
Listen, she'd probably more equate him to the God tier who literally loses his hand to Fenrir.
Yeah.
but still fights.
It's about how he got crippled fighting the worm.
Wrong game. And, as you guys spin it, as Suava spins her tail about Paul along with the rest of you, Lothar seems moved and he nods his he lowers his head a little bit and nods and says, "Very well, I'll take the boy." And Paul looks incredibly excited. He and you can see him rush as much as he can to gather a small bundle of his worldly goods, and he bows to each of you and says, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Like he repeatedly thanks each of you profusely, and then he leaves along with one of the soldiers that came with Lothar. But this whole time, as his whole interactions are going on, uh, Brother Clement, the monk who had got in your face earlier, he's been seething with anger the whole time, and he has just had enough. He just stands up on his bench and just shouts, "Evil incarnate! Lothar's but a toady and a bootlick to the devil, Claudius Giovanni." Spits again on the floor.
Oh,
He
he
spits
spit
again.
on the floor. I'm getting up.
Spit on the floor.
The warning is your
Oh.
very souls are in danger. Flee this accursed place. And then Lothar glares at the monk and says, "Get out." And then
If he doesn't leave right now, I'm walking over to him to physically remove him from the room.
don't you worry. Clement shouts back, "Your hellborn wizardry cannot compel a man of God. I expose your evil to the world." And Lothar just derisively snorts and says, "I need no hellbound wizardry, fool." And then he motions to the guards, who grab the monk and start wrestling him to the ground. Lucen, you can help if you wish.
If they're already handling him, and there's no need for me to pile on at this point, that's excessive.
All right. So,
Fine.
the
If you've
claim.
got him, I'll let you handle him.
All right. So as they do this, those guards wrestle him to the ground and they drag him, kicking, screaming, and fighting from the common room.
Some man of God biting and kicking.
I must say, he has the spirit.
He does.
He does, but it's an
Lacks the manners
eyesore.
and respect that he should have.
It does, and it's an eyesore, and I'm glad he's gone.
I'll
He
look to
says
the,
that with a
I'll
lot
look
more
over to
energy.
the innkeeper behind the bar and say to him, "I apologize in that man's for that man's shoddy behavior towards your establishment."
And then Sigismund, the innkeeper, he shakes. He's just shaking his head and says, "Oh, I wish I could avoided violence breaking out in my inn, but I thank you for your apology and your action." I think that man is a little bit too faithful, we'll say.
I wonder, does he normally show up?
He's shown up a few times in the past, but he doesn't typically get that into it.
Interesting.
But then he says, Sigismund kind of lowers his voice and says, I will say his words are a bit extreme, but I don't want to. But he's not unwarranted. I don't want to speak ill of Lord Giovanni, but since he's come here, the wasting sickness has come with him. Some in these parts do say it's the evil eye. Him and all his foreign friends. Giovanni even has Turks to visit.
And what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with having friends from other places? I understand travel is difficult, but
Meta-wise, you guys would probably know this, that the Turks have been engaged in war with the this is like the 1400s, so crusades are still very much on, and the Turks,
Ottoman Empire is a thing.
yeah, they're not they don't they're the Ottomans are very much at war with Europe, so it's very uncommon. It's very uncommon to have Turks here because they're fighting against the church. So but let's see. So does everyone before I do this last thing for this scene, does anyone else have does anyone else have anyone that wants to speak to or anything they wish to do?
I don't think so.
No, just a nightcap and then to sleep.
All right. So at this point, Lothar, after he's had his guards, after he says to the guards as they drag the monk out, "Hog tie him and leave him in the barn." And then he gathers he grabs a drink in his hand and says, "I drink to all of you, some of the finest specimens it has ever been my pleasure to find. To your robust good health." And then he drains his glass and says, "Be ready for the coach tomorrow afternoon."
Shasha interrupted. Wait, what specimens? What do you mean, specimens?
He just continues talking right over you. He says,
Clearly, specimens.
"Adoko will transport you. If you need anything, inform him." And then he swiftly departs before anyone has a chance to ask him questions.
How rude.
Anything? I'm kidding.
I think he was still shaken from that staring contest that we had that got to him.
But still, his hand was probably a little sore.
Sure, why not? I'm pretty sure a good drink will help me by.
At least help you sleep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'll probably take what's left over for bed.
All right. So we will move on to the next scene. So I'll say you guys take your drinks and then head to bed.
Nico's gonna do that, yeah. He's gonna take his drink, sip it a little bit, but then he's just gonna like take it with him. My mouth.
All right. So I'll say the next day, you guys take your drinks and head to your rooms to go to sleep. The next day, when you guys wake up, I'll say, well, when do you guys normally wake up, do you think?
Break it dawn.
Say Sava's probably used to getting up pretty early.
Yeah, Nico kind of does like a small little thing like before bed, which kind of requires the wine. But then when he gets up, he does like a quick little like morning-ish like routine, aka a ritual. There's like a small little, aka little pagan not pagan ceremony. It's not full blown one, but he does a very discreet ritual in his room, and then once that's done, he packs up everything.
Actually, Nico, there is actually one thing. So as you're sleeping, Nico, the dream you had last night, it's kind of hard for you to explain this, but you had a dream last night, of a strange entranceway covered in poison ivy, in the middle of a graveyard, and as you approach the entranceway in your dream, on the other side you see little except darkness.
And so graveyard, ivy, but there's darkness on the other side?
Yeah, as the door, or as the entranceway opens, it's, you don't see anything on the other side except for just darkness.
And that's all he had in his dream?
Yeah. Well, actually, as someone is, You're not able to tell who, because you're not able to tell the figure, but someone pushes you into that entranceway, and then you wake up.
So yeah, nah, he's gonna wake up a little bit, like, I don't wanna say a cold sweat, but very confused. So that's gonna probably lead him to just, like, quickly just take out, like, his belongings and everything, just, like, make sure the door is, like, bolted, and just, like, quickly just kind of, like, commune for, like, a small moment and everything, just to kind of see if he gets any sort of subtle sign of some kind.
Let's see. So, the sign that you let's see. The most that you get from this, let's see. You don't really get much from that aside from maybe you see actually, hang on. Yeah, so you see another vision inside your head. You could see just the image of the moon just appear in your head. Um, but not much else.
Yeah, and so he's just kind of like speaking to himself, like, you know, the moon, poison ivy getting punched over, or the ivy pushed over. Like he's trying to discern it, and he's kind of like on something. It's like, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? And like he's just like saying it over and over again, and then finally it's just like after he's done with his little spread, he kind of just like packs everything up and everything, but kind of just writes down what he remembers from the dream, and then just like, you know, rolls it up and puts it into his pocket for later.
And as Nico probably is a little bit disconcerted, but you two guys do walk down into the common room of the inn, and the guests do arrive one by one. The other guests do arrive as well one by one. The first one that you guys see that walks, or they start to come down in the following order. The first one that arrives down is Mariana, the peasant girl. The next one is Alesso, the shepherd. The third one is Agnolo, and he was the guy dressed like just like somewhat in the middle class, more like a baker. And then Lucia, the one with the dirty red hair and dressed in peasant clothes as well. The rest of them do show up, except the only one that doesn't show up is Leonardo. You don't see him yet. The big the nobly dressed like asshole guy.
I wonder where he's gone. He seemed very, very, very interested in seeing the great Lord Giovanni.
He probably got upset there were peasants here and left.
Perhaps he just hasn't awoken yet.
Or maybe he had a bad dream, Nico says, as like he like rejoins the group and everything.
What are you suggesting, that you visited him in the middle of the night and he saw you?
And he was good looking. So, and Nico just kind of looks with the group, but you could tell that like he kind of just throws caution to the wind and just leans in. It's like, well, he was good looking.
Is it the money or the actual looks, my friend?
Is it bad that I want to say both? Having a lot of money and also being good looking is not a bad thing.
Lucian's gonna have like a weird look at you and then just shake his head and whatever.
As with Sasha.
And then the other guest dressed like a priest, similar to Brother Clement, he kind of like shakes his head and says, I must apologize for what happened last night. Some of my brothers in faith can be
Cool.
overzealous.
I would say, is the man okay though?
I don't know. I don't know what they did with him. I assume they haven't killed him, but I haven't seen him. They don't want.
I would hope not. He
I
was
would hope-
rude, but nothing quite warranted execution.
I would hope not, but
Especially for a man of law. Also, somebody
yes,
just
but
disappeared.
I didn't introduce myself. I am Bernardi or Bernardio. I'm Bernardio of Siena. I'm a priest and a Franciscan mercenary, or not mercenary, missionary. Wrong word. Missionary. I must say I'm glad I was selected to spread the word. I'm hoping to spread the word to Giovanni. Maybe maybe he'd be willing to donate to the church if he'll listen.
Did you come by invitation or on your own?
Oh, of course, I was invited as well, and he produces an invitation identical to the one that you guys got.
Truly is a weird group that they've gathered up.
It is.
Indeed. And Mariana, the peasant girl, at this point chimes in and says, I don't get why I was invited. Why invite me? I'm nobody. I'm just a peasant girl.
I mean, you are very fetching.
We are all God's children, aren't we not, Father?
And Bernardio at that point nods and says, yes, we're all God's children. The group.
Nico's just pretending to be occupied. Every time there's a mention of God or we're all God's children, he's just
Yeah.
he just puts his hand over his mouth and everything, and he's just kind of like, just subtly kind of like masking every frown he has at that mention. But
Yeah,
he
like,
doesn't really want to be rude in front of Bernardio, but because Bernardio at least introduced himself very nicely and wasn't rude and spat everywhere. So at least it's like, okay, he's nice, but like he still worked for the church.
Yeah,
So,
even Swava's like kind of like just fidgeting like with her sleeves or something. She's like, yeah, ooh, Christian is.
Sasha has had a lot of time to pretend to be something he's not, so he's just kind of sitting there being normal, unlike his
And then,
companion.
after about like an hour or so, Leonardo does come down eventually. He's still got that condescending kind of look and air on his face, and he doesn't say anything. He just kind of sits and waits far away from where he would see the rest of you are, especially Mariana. And he just kind of looks toward the window and just like tries to ignore you guys.
What did Mariana do? She's a peasant girl?
Yep.
She's a peasant girl.
Should we poke the bear?
No, we do not poke the bear. No.
I will go speak with him.
We're all going to have a dinner together. Why not at least let him talk?
We can talk, but don't poke the bear. That's the.
I'm well versed in communicating with people like him. Don't worry.
No, as am I. But you don't go and poke the bear that obviously wants to eat you.
No.
Who is this again?
You tell the bear that he has the biggest claws and he's wearing the nicest tuxedo and he looks beautiful. That's what you tell the bear, so he doesn't kill everyone else in the room.
So for those who forgot, this is Leonardo. He looks to be about 40. He's definitely from the way he's dressed. He's clearly a noble, and definitely got a condescending air about him.
Oh, definitely.
Does he seem to be dressed better than Sasha? Is he above Sasha's like resource rank?
How many thoughts of resources does Sasha
3.
have? Yeah.
Oh.
Man, it's bleeding money over there.
I also have 3. I am concerned that you are of a Germanic persuasion, and he is a man from the coast, and will only want to talk to another man from the coast. I'll go over and talk to him. Don't worry, it will be okay. I'll persuade him to play nice with everyone else.
I will have
But we'll
Suava.
reel you back if it goes bad.
I will have Suava write you the bestest of obituary songs.
They're called morning songs, not obituary songs.
Potato, potato.
He just like takes out a small sketchbook and he just starts like sketching. Honestly, he just starts sketching the stuff that he remembered from his dream.
So, Alonso, as you go over to Leonardo, he definitely, as you approach him, he has definitely a condescending. I mean, he's clearly looking down on you, and he says, "Yes."
Lord Leonardo, I've heard of you in my travels and through all of Italy.
Actually, let me see. Let me see dots for a second, real quick. Let's see. Let's see. You actually have dots in etiquette, so maybe you have. Well, actually, you have a dot in politics. So let me see. You can roll me intelligence politics to see if you actually have heard of this guy or not.
Intelligence politics?
Yes.
Ooh.
3. That is okay. That's. Let's see. And what's your specialty on that? Quick learner. Okay.
Quick learner.
Okay, I'll say that just one success. Okay, so you've at least heard his name mentioned before, and he's definitely one of the you've heard his name before. He's not one of the leaders of or the rulers of Venice, but he's definitely one of the either an earl or a duke. He's definitely up there.
I've heard tale of how disgustingly large and amazing your house is in Venice.
At that he kind of perks up and says, "Well, of course, but I'm glad to hear word of it's getting around."
Well, I mean, word gets around about the people who are important enough for the word to get around about it. Isn't that true?
Indeed, it is. So
I mean, I would have only heard of you if you were important. I only passed through Venice, but I definitely heard your name on many people's lips.
So, well, I'm glad to hear word of my greatness is getting around. I must say, based on the way you're dressed, you're definitely, I'd say, probably a tradesman.
Yes, I am I'm opened and managed a import-export business from the Isle of Sicily, where I moved many things around the Mediterranean.
Well, I'm glad that Lord Giovanni is at least spreading his invitation out to the tradesmen. But I will say he is some of his choices are a bit strange. And as he says that, he shoots kind of a glance at the lower class people, which would be Mariana, Alesso, and Lucia, which would be who are. Lucia is the one, the rat catcher with red hair. Alesso is the one dressed like and Alesso is the one dressed like a shepherd. I will say I don't understand why Lord Giovanni would trouble himself with inviting the serfs and the lowborn, but I can't speak to his mind.
Lord Bernardo, I think I can understand it only because I'm not burdened with the excellence that you have. I can see this from a lower standing. We need to have variation among the people of this chosen 13, because then how do we know how much better you are than we all are. If we were all nobles like yourself, then we'd all be fighting amongst ourselves to see who was the best. But now, in this room, we can very obviously tell who's the best, can we not?
I would like you to roll manipulation and
Laying it on
I want to say
off
either.
here.
I want to say empathy. I want to say empathy or subterfuge. I'm torn between empathy or subterfuge. I feel like it's probably a subterfuge.
That's my best roll.
Oh no.
I have a specialty in lying for manipulation.
Oh
Uh,
no.
I'll say you can apply that. Yeah.
Alright, 7d10. Oh, damn it. I didn't add thirst. Wow.
Okay, that went
Holy
pretty
shit.
well.
It did go well.
All right. Hang on 1 second. That's this and Alonso. All right. So let me see. Let me see. In terms of successes, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5 because of the 1. So that is 5 successes. So that did go very well. So he does seem he's very much swayed by Alonso's eloquently worded lie. And he just sighs and says, "Suppose you are right. I shouldn't. If Lord Giovanni invited them, they must have some peace, some little spark of nobility among them somewhere."
And beg your grace's forgiveness for me to say this too, but how would they know how to aspire to be great like you if you are over here and not in their presence and awing them with how great you are?
And he kind of sighs and says, "Well, I suppose you're right. I shouldn't. I should let the serfs gaze upon magnificence, I suppose."
This wasn't even my idea, sire. I actually heard you. I could see this is what you were believing. I could see that this is what you wanted. So this is really all of your idea, sire.
And then as you're like phrasing that in a way to make it seem like it's his idea, he kind of like does a kind of a pat on your shoulder or a clasp on your shoulder and says, "You're right. What was your name again?"
Alonso Marone of Sicily.
Alonso, you're not too bad for a tradesman.
I know my betters.
And then, not long after that, Lothar comes back along with Rodrigo, and he says, he says, and Lothar says, there are carriages to bring each of you to the manse. Rodrigo and I will bring you to the manse. And he kind of motions you out, and as you go outside, you can see that the carriages that he brought are ornate with gilded trim, but the expensive look is marred by heavy shutters. There are heavy shutters fastened over the windows. And Lothar says, "For protection in case of a brigand attack." As Rodrigo unbolts and forces open the shutters, and he brought two carriages, one for the 5 of you to get in, and the others get 3 carriages. So he splits the group as you
Sorry.
Okay, so the 5 of you, and then the other guests shuffle off into the other coaches. Let me shift to another one. For the coach ride. Does that change for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, as you guys start to head off into the as you guys head off into the coach, Rodrigo, let's see. Rodrigo is inside of driving your coach, and as you go, I would like, let's see, once I can explode necklaces.
That looks like
And,
some sort of demon on the back of that coach.
Maybe. And Rodrigo says, I will take great pains to ensure that the journey is as comfortable as possible. And as you guys start to move, and as the carriage starts to move, Rodrigo is true to his word and tries to, and he tries to, he slows the coach down whenever it hits a patch of rough road. And he does truly try to make it as careful as comfortable as possible for you guys. I would actually like each of you to roll me wits awareness.
Wait. Oh, wits awareness. Okay.
Yes.
I got worried. I was like, wait a minute. What? Oh, that's on here. Okay. I got that confused.
Wits awareness as the
Guys.
coach is moving through the forest.
That ain't good roll.
You saw
Or
nothing.
Another 4 dice.
I might have taken a nap.
Yeah,
Or no.
that would actually be a botch.
Oh.
There we go.
Well, hold on.
Shit.
I think I'm at a. I think
Yeah,
I'm
you rolled a D410.
Oh, whoops. My bad. I do apologize. That
Eight on a
was.
D10. That's impressive.
That was
That's like super crit.
That's a big die. So sorry, guys. My bad.
That's alright, he's just a rogue using his sneak attack dice.
Okay, so
Oh, that's a good roll.
Two.
Shit.
2 successes. 1, 2, 2 successes. It's a botch. 1, 2, 1 success. That is 2 successes. Okay. This is, let's see. Make sure which awareness roll. Okay. So so Suava and Sasha. Suava Suava won't know this is Sasha, Suava, not Lucen, Alonso, and Nico. You guys, with the exception of Lucen, who at this point has either fallen asleep or hit his head on the side of the, or I'll say since he botched, he hit his head on the side of the, he hit his head on the side of the coach as he's trying to look out. He did that thing where people turn their head, but they slam into like the side of the coach.
Not this.
So that they get in. But the rest of you notice that there are 3 crucified bodies in the woods.
Oh.
Like Nico is just sketching, and then he just looks, and he's just like, huh.
Poor souls.
Pretty gruesome.
Like
Dude.
crucified to trees, or is there like a whole actual cross built into the ground, and they're crucified on the cross?
It's not a cross, or actually, yeah, it is a cross. Yeah, so there's like a little mini wooden cross, and there's bodies just sitting there in the woods.
I wonder if the church did that.
Interesting.
Well, the crucifixions, I could probably tell you they more likely did.
Yeah. Well, because people are different. Fucking abysmal.
And at that point, Rodrigo chimes in. He says, "Lord Giovanni is a stern master."
So the Lord did this?
Let's see. It says, and he shakes his head and says, "Those people plotted against Lord Giovanni. Probably tried to avoid paying their rent."
Oh, see, like, damn, what a landlord.
For real. Like, I thought landlords were already shit as is, but fuck. Like,
Should not break laws.
That is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Nico does his best to like still continue to like sketch. Like he's sketching like the graveyard, he's sketching the moon, he's sketching the ivy and everything. He's like going back and forth between pages, and he's just like sketching at everything. And looking outside is just kind of making him a few things sort of click. But again, he's just like absorbed into sketching those feelings out rather than vocally saying it at the moment.
And after about a somewhat awkward 3-hour ride after that, you guys do arrive at the Giovanni Holdings. It's twilight, just before sunset, and you guys arrive at Lord Giovanni's manse just as the last blaze of sunlight fades into flickering embers. The manse itself is a massive, craggy manor house with an overgrown garden to the right and a graveyard to the left. The house is well fortified with a single stout door and very few narrow windows, all protected by inner shutters. 4 lightly armed sentries stand guard on the papettes. As the coaches ride up, the guards wave to you. And let me change the thing again. So I have it for you guys there. And a soldier opens up the massive oaken door. As you guys slowly start to get out. And then, Rodrigo starts to lead you guys into the forbidding-looking manor. And as you guys do enter, and I'm gonna change it again. So, you guys do enter a long, narrow hallway lit by tapers encased in strong iron cage-like housings. The candles provide only very dim light and cast long, flickering shadows upon walls and faces. The soldier remains at his post and slams the door shut, closing Rodergio and all the characters in with the gloom. As you guys move down the darkened hall, you can see that the right and left walls are fitted with arrow slots designed to catch invaders in a deadly crossfire. There are also evil-looking gargoyle faces lining the walls, leering stone-faced at each of you. They appear to twitch ever so slightly in the flickering candlelight.
Shasha will kind of notice one of them twitching, and he'll walk over and stare for a good while until he's pulled away.
Yes, it's not long before one of the servants starts pulling Sasha away.
I will kind of instinctively reach towards my back and then realize that I don't have a weapon there and stop.
It's rather cozy,
Sasha will kind of scoot close to Shava. You saw it move too, yes?
What?
You saw it move?
What move?
The gargoyle. I swear to you, on the gods, it moved.
She kind of like just stabs her head back, like trying to look at it from the distance, like, no, those things can't move.
No.
Nico then just kind of looks back and he's like, sometimes gargoyles aren't there to look scary. It's actually really there so that the way they could look scary to their enemies.
Eventually,
Feels any better knowing.
I swear on Thor, he moved.
Swear on who?
Thor.
I'm unfamiliar with this man or person.
Maybe a lesson is for later times.
Yes, later. Maybe later.
It's like, just gotta keep going. He doesn't say that. No, Nico doesn't say that. But it's just like,
Very well, we do have more important things ahead of us.
It's a god they believe. It's a god they believe in Germany. Jeez, it's not that hard. It's a god. It's a god. They believe in it in Germany.
In Denmark.
Okay, so I'll say at the end of the long hallway, the longer than should really be normal, creepy looking hallway, you guys find yourselves facing another stout door. Rodergio pauses at the door and then raps loudly upon it. The door doesn't open. There's silence in the stale air of the shadowy hall. Rodergio raps again. Still no response. And so what do you guys do?
Her Perhaps they're further into the building and just taking their time.
Redemptoris just sighs.
Men of Giovanni's importance, no doubt, have many things calling their attention. I imagine we can just wait. He will be along shortly.
Okay. So it's about several minutes. It's about several minutes as you guys just wait. As nothing happens, but then the door creaks open, as it is unlocked by a second soldier, accompanied by a familiar face, that being Lothar. And the two men are standing behind you in a large reception hall, also dimly lit by tapers and furnished with oddly delicate furniture. I actually would like everyone to roll intelligence etiquette for me.
Sweet.
Boy. Intelligence in a what?
Etiquette.
Yeah.
Oh. That's such a... Oh.
Oh.
Oh my god!
Oh boy.
I didn't even know they got that bad.
Give me a second. 1, 2, 3, 4.
In case listeners, you want to know,
He had 2 good ones.
that was 3 1s.
Yeah. 3 1s and 2 successes, so you're bad.
Well, those ones cancel out those successes, so.
No, that's what I'm saying. He had 3 1s against only 2 successes. That's bad.
Listen, he was still freaked out about the gargoyle, okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna mark that as just a failure for this one. So, so let's see, that's 2, 2, 2.
I only had 3 dice here, so it wasn't that odd that I would succeed.
So, let's see.
But you didn't.
I know.
So,
That's what I'm saying. It's not odd that I
so let's see. So, Suava, to Suava, Alonso, and let's see, and no, only Suava and Alonso will realize this. Looking at that furniture, it's of Italian design. You're not able to tell much more than that. And Lothar glares at Redemptoris and without a word of greeting just says sternly, "You are early." And then Redemptoris doffs his hat and says, "A 1,000 pardons, Steward Lothar." And then, before any of you can react, Lothar strikes Redemptoris across the face with a riding crop. It draws blood, which Redemptoris wipes from his face, and Lothar just says, "Bear keenly in mind the source of that blood." And let's see.
No, that was uncalled for. It is not his fault. We are early.
Is Sasha the only one sticking up for
Redemptoris?
Yeah.
Redemptoris been a good person to us, right? He's been
Yes.
relatively straightforward. Yeah, okay. Perhaps in our enthusiasm to get inside, we rushed along Redemptoris in a way that we shouldn't have. Possibly it's our fault.
And let's see. So, and upon seeing you guys stick up for him, Redemptoris gives you a smile, looks more favorably disposed toward you guys. But Lothar, however, his expression changes and he starts scowling at all of you.
Hey, I didn't stick up for him.
Okay, so so who stuck up for Redemptoris? Sasha did.
Yeah.
Alonso.
So,
He didn't follow instructions properly. Perhaps the riding crop to the face was a little excessive, but hey,
so I have Sasha, Alonso.
not my place.
Anyone else?
It's business.
Okay, so just have Sasha and
I would
Alonso.
kind of say
picking
Nico
up.
might say something to that. Probably like just audibly say that the riding crop thing was excessive. That and we were just excited to just get in. So he kind of goes with the story slightly, just by adding, that riding crop is a little excessive, but.
What about Slava? What is she
Nope.
sticking up for him? Nope. All right. Nothing changes Lothar doesn't look moved, but at the same time he starts scowling at Sasha, Alonso, and Nico. And then Lothar just says, "Now enter," gesturing to he gestures to Redemptoris and all of you and the other guests. And once you're all in the room, Lothar stops Redemptoris and he says, "As punishment, you will not partake of tonight's bounty. You will eat nothing but scraps. Now go." And as Lothar says that, he points his blood-spattered riding crop toward the door, and Redemptoris walks down and back toward the hallway, and the soldier then slams and locks the inner door. You guys find yourself in a reception hall.
Ooh.
Sasha will be a little surprised at the sudden door slamming and kind of just turn around and then kind of look back and raise an eyebrow at the door being locked.
And Lothar stares after Redemptoris for a moment, and then he turns to the guests and collects himself a little bit, still scowling at the three of you, by the way. He says, "Welcome to Lord Giovanni's manse. I have preparations to finish. Wait here." And then he departs, leaving the 13 of you, which the 5 of you and the 7 other, or the 8 others, on your own in this room.
When I talked to the Lord before, he seemed. I think I might have placated him a little bit, but don't. Just don't with him.
I'll just kind of lean over to you, like, laid it on awfully thick this morning.
Yeah. Just tell him he's right, and then he'll probably just move on to the next person, who should just tell him he's right. Got it.
Nothing ever good happens to that thing.
And I will say that about 5 minutes later, Lothar returns, smiling broadly, and he says, "Come with me. I shall introduce you to your host." And then he leads all of you through the house as you walk through several more elegantly furnished rooms, all staffed with soldiers. You guys can hear music ahead. So Lothar opens two ornate doors to a great dining hall, also dimly lit by a few ensconced tapers. Inside there are 13 people sitting around a large table with an empty chair next to each. This is a strange collection of men and women, well-dressed, both well-dressed and slovenly, highly attractive and appallingly ugly, local and foreigners alike. A short, paunchy, finely dressed man sits at the head of the table. 5 servants, 2 butlers and 3 maids, stand motionless against the far wall. And also in the room are some minstrels that are playing music, which should be playing right now. And then Lothar doffs his hat and bows low before the assembled hosts, saying, "Lord Giovanni, lords and ladies, it is with surpassing pride that I present to you the fruits of my long search. Here are 13 of the purest samples in the land." And Sasha, he's saying words like that again.
Yeah.
Sasha just going. It's like
He's using those words again.
He's gonna scooch next to Suava and say exactly he's using those words again.
It's a transliteration problem. It's because he's obviously fluent in more than 3 languages, and he's just it's idioms.
So am I.
I will bow very respectfully to our host.
Oh yeah, that too.
And the man at the head of the table rises, and he says, "Welcome, dear friend. I am Claudius Giovanni. Welcome to La Bella Casa Giovanni. You are my guest, and while you're here, my home is your home. Come, join us." And as you guys step forward, the servants offer each of you glasses of wine.
My favorite.
Sasha will
And-
he'll take one.
And as Giovanni raises his glass and says, "Let us toast to the most memorable meal of your lives." And as you guys lift your goblets, he continues and says, "Here's to the finer things in life."
Right?
And as you guys drink, after you guys finish drinking, Giovanni introduces the other 12 at the table who rise, and he says to the first one that he points to is a tall, broad-shouldered man with a thick red beard and battered but well-oiled leather armor, and he says, "Well, this is Marcellius the Bold." And the next one to stand up is a tall, sinewy woman wearing a traveling cloak and man's breeches. And Claudius introduces this one as Lady Demetria. The next one is a hideous woman, partly hidden under a thick gray leper's cloak and hood, wearing a full face mask with ragged eye holes and a smelly wet spot in front of her mouth. Leprous scabs can be seen around her eyes, and Claudius introduces this one as Matron Violetta. The next one is a slender, tall woman child, about 16 years old, with waist-length blonde hair and a torn, soiled silken gown, and decayed floral arrangements in her hair. This one is introduced by Claudius as Lady Theophana. The next one is a stern-faced old man dressed in a royal purple tunic, leggings, and feathered cap. He's dripping with elegant, expensive jewelry, and that one's introduced as Sire Wencelos. The next one to stand up is a portly man with a large white beard, wearing a black robe and silver trim. This one is introduced as Lord Casimir, by the way, I never changed the picture for the dining hall. There it is. And the next one to stand up is a heavyset woman with dark red hair and a completely black dress. She is introduced as Lady Jadvinga Alma. The next one to stand up is a bald, middle-aged man dressed like a prosperous merchant in brocaded velvet. He's introduced as Lord Leopold Valdemar. The next one is a handsome young man wearing a simple black monk's robe with white surplice. This one is introduced as Lord Michislav. The next one is a dark-skinned man with angular, chiseled features in fine silk Turkish robes. This one's introduced as Lord Bajazet al-Nasir. The next one is a swarthy woman draped in silks of foreign design and an elaborate gold headpiece, who is introduced as Lady Amisa. And the last one is a short young man dressed as a gypsy with lots of flashy gold jewelry and a coarse tunic and leggings. And this one is introduced as Gabrin. And Giovanni says, "We would like to get to know you better. Conversation is like fine wine. It enhances the appetite. Let us converse while we anticipate our dinner." And then all three of those 13 people start moving toward you. And let's see. So, okay. All right. So as they start to mingle with each of you, let's see. Where's my character? Right. So I'm gonna do this as the initial pairing. So, plan. So we're gonna do this one at a time. Let's see. So we'll start with Lucen. So, Lucen, the one that approaches you is the one introduced as Marquetius or Marchettus the Bold. He walks up to you and says, Lucen, and says, I think all kings need to be fed the entrails of their ministers, the testicles of their heirs, and then have their hearts cut out. They are canker sores on the arse of the world, don't you think?
That, my, such good language. I am at a loss for words. Good sir.
Good to listen. Let's see. So he said, don't you know, kings are like parasites. They suckle off the hard work and money of everyone else. They tax their people, but what do the people get? And what do the people get for it? And I will note that this sort of conversation is pretty blasphemous to the medieval mind. The act of, not so much that people like, not that many people didn't have such attitudes, but they typically didn't voice them, especially not in the company of them, not in the company of nobles.
Yeah. But the king and his knights provide protection to those people to ensure that bandits and other dangers do not take them.
What's the king really doing aside from suckling off everyone else's work, really? I mean, look, and he motions around the room, and he says, scowling, look at this pack of false-hearted fops. Their pretension and insincerity leave a foul stench that lingers in the room like Claudius. Let's inflict some damage on this gaudy, gilded trash, and his eyes twinkle with wicked intent as he starts to lead you off to another room. And as soon as he starts to lead you off, he starts, like, smashing delicate vases, carving rude sayings into furniture, just generally vandalizing the place.
Are you sure you should be doing that in the house of our host?
And he says, are you joining or not?
I feel it would be rude to... I'm not sure whether it would be more rude to deface the home of our host or to not join in with the festivities.
And he says, he looks at you at a taunting face and says, coward, don't you detest these elitist swine? Don't you think they deserve it?
There are times when I might, but honor forces me to keep my vows, to honor my vows.
And then he doesn't spit, but he just goes off on his own. And on that note, let's see. And on that note, we will actually transition away from you. And then not join. I just gotta write that down just for my own notes. Marquetius walks off. Okay, so we will transition away from Lucen over to who should be next. Someone want to volunteer? Let's see. We will go next to Suava.
Oh no.
Yours is different. Let's see. So for you, Suava, the one introduced as Sire Wenceslas approaches you and draws you aside. He says, he starts speaking to you about art and says, and first he says, so tell me, are you an artist yourself?
I believe so. I am a skald from my village. I mainly craft songs and poems.
That's a form of art. I've been told your name is Suava, yes.
Yes, sir.
And the approach he's using in this conversation is kind of like a weird combination of domineering, mentoring, and sexual come-on.
Oh God.
And keep in mind, this is an older guy, so like this is a weird kind of like really uncomfortable
Yeah,
kind of
Salva's very
situation.
much having the whole
Yeah.
"don't be disgusted, don't be disgusted, don't be oh you're disgusted."
If you look in the art channel, I posted a good portion of like
Yep.
the pictures of all of these people. Some of the clan symbols are very obvious, some of them aren't, and I did also post like a list of like the people that were mentioned. The only one that doesn't have a picture is Mieczysław. Or at least from what I could find, he doesn't seem to have a picture. I'm sure he does, but it just wasn't available to me at the moment.
Yeah, this is the guy doing that weird like sexual come-on thing too. So he's much older. So let's see. Good conversation. Vision with okay, so hang on one second. All right, and so the next thing that he does after he's like continuing to do this domineering and sexual come-on thing, he cups your face in his hands and says, "You are most lovely. You have special qualities that call to me. Are you an artist?"
I am, and I would also
Yeah.
greatly appreciate if you would take your hands off me.
And he says, "Well, show me what you can do. Come, dazzle me. Sing for your supper. You said music, right?"
That is one form, yes.
Yes. So he takes you aside. He doesn't disturb the bards that are playing, but he does take you aside outside the room to a different one, just so that he doesn't get anyone in the way. And let's see. And he takes you to a room, and actually first he asks you, what instrument do you play?
Fuck, there's a certain string instrument, I just can't remember what it's called.
Is it a lute?
Wasn't quite a lute. It's a Kalma harpa.
Oh, Kalma
much-
harpa, okay.
Yeah. If a harp was also a violin.
Alright, so he sends one of the servants out to get one, and they do bring one back. And he says, he motions with his hands and says, play. And let's see, I would like, see, unless the character's brilliant, and so I would like for you to roll me, I guess the roll for that would be charisma and charisma expression. Yeah.
She does not have expression, so we're going straight charisma. Oh no, that's 1. It's 4, 10.
That is one success. Let's see.
Oh
That's
boy.
not gonna be impressive. Let's see. So let's see. Let me see. So he's very unimpressed, and he just starts berating you immediately. He says, "You call that great? You haven't the right to call yourself an artist. You're a disgrace, a pretender in the halls of the muses." And then he cups your face again, and draws you closer.
Swappa will actually like swat his hand away.
You try, but this guy is somehow much stronger than he looks. And you're not able to get his hand away, but he says in an intense whisper after he's drawn you really close to him. He says, "But I could make you great. Would you like that?"
I would like for you to get your hands off me.
And then Wenceslas releases you and commands you to begin again.
Do I have to roll again, or
I'll say, are you going to start beginning to perform again? Are you going to perform again of your own will, or is he going to have, or am I going to have to?
she would try one more time to see if it gets him off her case.
Alright. So go ahead, roll, make that same roll again per charisma expression.
That's a little better.
And yeah, that's 4 successes. So he looks somewhat impressed for about like 30 seconds, but then Wenceslas smashes a wine goblet in his hand, and he then starts cutting you with the jagged shards. So as you're performing, he just starts like throwing the jagged shards right toward you as you're like hitting your hands as you're performing. And as he also comes close to you, he cuts, he slashes you again, and he starts laughing and raving. More commitment and pain. That's what makes great art. Embrace your pain. It glorifies the creator. God created the earth in pain. Mothers issue forth their get in pain, and you must bring forth your art from the depths of pain and anguish. I could make you great, but first I must make your suffering even greater.
She's gonna end up throwing the instrument at him.
Okay, so you and I are going to need use entrancement. So entrancement, keep going. So let's see. So to the service. This is the one service of Empire. Okay. This is service. Okay, so let's see. Okay. So, all right. All right. Let's see. I gotta make a roll for entrancement. So I am rolling. Let me see. So he looks you right in the eye, and you feel strange. That's appearance empathy. So let's see. I just gotta find his stat log real quick. There's no way you're gonna resist this, but I should roll it anyway.
All of the dice.
Just dumps a whole bucket.
Dominate. Let's see. So social. That's appearance. So that's 4. Appearance empathy. So. Empathy. So that is. Let's see. So that's 4. Okay, so 10. Okay, that is going to be. So all of a sudden, Suava, you feel as if all of a sudden you feel the irresistible urge to continue playing, even though you're in pain. You have no, your body just is not giving you an option but to continue to play. And it's and on that note, we are going to switch over next to, and we're gonna leave Suava playing and with against her will, admittedly, and being cut. Tries to resist. Resist, but no, and just cut. And just cut. So next we're going to move over to Nico.
I'm afraid.
It's fine. So in
People
your
who played
case,
this with me before. Oh lord, that's all I gotta say.
So next, the person who talks to you, Nico, is Lord Mieczysław, and he takes you aside and says, "Tell me something, Nico. Was it? Tell me how you believe your enemies should be treated."
Oh, no.
You don't want to say that as someone who already has a grudge against the church. How my enemies should be treated. And this is if I was given the power to make my enemies curl up into a ball of, I don't know, pain.
He ponders for a second and says, "If you have your enemy at your mercy, what do you believe should be done with him?"
Let's see. Like, he thinks about it for a moment and then kind of answers as honestly as he can. Like, I would make sure that whatever they did wrong to me is paid up in tenfold. No, not tenfold, 100-fold.
Okay. All right. So so Mitislav says, and he says, excellent. That's an excellent train of thought. And so he leads you down into here. Come with me, and he leads you down into one of the wine cellars in a dank, cold room. You can see a naked man chained up against a wall, his body covered with old and new wounds, surrounded by torture devices. And Mitislav says, "This is a spy for my enemies. Show me how you would deal with him."
Can I ask, was he a priest?
I don't know. He didn't show up as a priest. I don't know if he really is one or not. All I know is he's a spy. He's a spy for my enemies. And he says, "Great men need to be feared, but must avoid being hated."
Alright,
Well,
I'm literally
it's
like going over this in my head because it's like, oh shit, what did I do the last time? So Nico kind of just looks around. He looks around at the torture devices, and you know, he's kind of sort of like slowly kind of smiling slightly as he's just looking around, wondering like which items to really pick. And he's gonna find something that's almost like a club or a spiked club or something that's resembling that of some kind. And he's gonna like just pick it up, and he's kind of just gonna walk around the dude, just like kind of slowly having the weapon in hand, just kind of like or whatever device he's got, kind of slowly like putting it against his skin and going up and down while he's like going around it, and then he's just gonna take a swing at his legs.
All right. As you do that and hit him, the man just starts begging for mercy. He starts crying out that he's innocent. "I'm innocent. I'm just a simple peasant captured by the guards for the sport of the powerful. They're demons," he insists. "They're not living men." How's your reaction? How's your response to that?
Fuck, hold on. Now I gotta flip a coin because, oh shit, wait a minute. Don't get me wrong, Nico's a bit of an asshole, but like, listen. Okay. Okay, he's gonna, at this point he's just gonna like hit him again and just go for the other leg.
All right. This whole time, Lord Mitroslav is just watching with a smile on his face. He's going. And let's see. So you're gonna have to make me a conscience roll.
Funny is, I knew this was coming. And how do I make a conscience roll again?
You have 2 dots in conscience, so just roll those 2.
Just 2d10.
You can also go to your character sheet and under dice.
Yeah, actually, wait, you don't actually have conscience. So, in your case, you would just roll conviction.
Okay.
If you go to dice on your character sheet, you can just hit roll.
Yes, you can.
But drop it down to 2.
Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Oh, dice. Conviction. Roll.
Okay, 3 successes. Okay, so, Nico, despite this man's begging for mercy, you somehow managed to can somehow do enough or somehow steel yourself enough to ignore his pleas and continue along with the torture.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that, but I. Believing you to get tortured. Listen, okay.
Yeah, and Mitroslav just says, "Oh, do continue for as long as you wish. Do try to leave him alive, though."
Make sure to leave him alive. Oh, okay. Sorry, that's a change from the last time I played this, because the last time I played this, I straight up killed him. But so Nico's gonna like...
He's giving you the choice.
Yeah, so Nico's just kind of like looking, he's kind of looking back and forth at the man, and then he's just gonna like, in a way of, I guess you could say, his own act of mercy, he's gonna do the whole going around again, slowly taking the weapon and like gliding it across the man's skin before striking. So he's gonna try striking at least, he does it several times, just like going around and then striking his ribs, or like his side, his hip, the back of his legs, even though he already like went out after the other man's legs, like for dear life. But he's gonna make sure like not to like hit so hard that this guy like dies. So he's really trying his best to kind of be like, well, he's still alive, but okay, let's just.
And as Nico continues torturing with Mieczysław, we will transition. We'll transition over to Sasha.
Yay! So enthusiastic.
Look, there's nothing horrible going on here.
Listen, just ignore the fact that your friend just wandered off with a creepy old man.
Look, ignore the torture and the cutting and the creepy old man that come on and all that. Ignore all that. Ignore all that. It's fine. Ignore all that. So, Lord Casimir stares intently into Sasha's eyes, and he says in a loud whisper, "Art thou knowing? Art thou wise in the ways of the other world? Dost thou follow the left-hand path?"
Yes. He'll agree, but it's kind of iffy because he's not quite sure what he's talking about.
So he Casimir takes a second to clarify, and then he says, "Dost thou ken magic? Dost thou know of the powers thaumaturgical?"
Oh yes. Yes, he'll smile. Yes, the occult is one of my main branches of study.
And Casimir kind of smirks a little bit and says, "Dost thou seek knowledge of the forbidden arts, the Black Road? I can show thee the way."
Well, that is part of my practice. It is not forbidden for me.
And let's see. So.
It's only the Catholics and the Christians that say that it's forbidden.
Well, I don't see any here, do you?
I don't know. People have not made their religious preferences known.
Well, you need not worry. You need not worry here. If you're interested, I can show you the way. Let me see. And he says, he whispers to you again and says, "The black arts are perverse and corrupting. I will show thee. Walk across the room and turn left." And let's see.
My left or your left?
Your left.
You will. How far do you want me to walk straight until I turn left?
Just across the room and turn left.
Sasha will walk across the room and turn left.
Line 2. Let's see, so. Alright, and so as you try to turn left, contradict. I gotta double check how this one works. So as you try to turn left, so I would like you, Sasha, to roll Perception Subterfuge.
Okay, sheet. 3. No, 3.
Alright, let's see. So, 3 successes?
No, I haven't rolled it yet. I have 3 dice.
Okay.
No!
Oh, okay.
No!
Nope.
Nope.
So, all of a sudden, Sasha, as you walk across the room, before you even realize what you're doing, suddenly instead of turning right, your brain tells you, or instead of turning left, your brain tells you to turn right. And then you turn right. And then he says, and he kind of smiles and says, "Come back."
He will come back and look really confused It's like I don't understand. I'm not sure why I turned right.
And he laughs and says, "Such is the power of magic."
Huh.
Let's see. All right.
That's
so-
an interesting display.
And then he goes to fetch a large bowl of water and says, "Do not plunge thy head into this bowl."
He
And,
tries not to.
And then he looks you right in the eye, gives you a powerful look, and says, "Do it." And I would need. What's your current willpower points?
6. 6.
So let's see. 6. So manipulation.
Do I need to roll willpower?
Intimidation. Let's see. That's the difficulty. So let's see. With the difficulty. Okay, no, that's the difficulty. The more successes on this roll. Force an action. Given a command. No, the difficulty is just your your willpower. Yes. Okay. So he looks you in the eye, and you try and resist, but let's see what happens. Let's see what the dice tell me. Let's see. Manipulation, intimidation. Okay, so manipulation. He's got a lot of dice on this.
Oof.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is 3. So, you find Sasha. You find yourself unable to resist, and you plunge your head right into that bowl of water.
Gold.
And as you start to breathe, and as you do that, you start to ingest the water, and it feels more and more like you're drowning.
Yay! I'm gonna try and take my head out of the basin.
You actually cannot. You find yourself unable to do that, even if you want to. And you just continue to suck in water as your lungs start to fill with water, and you nearly drown before Casimir pulls you out.
He will start coughing.
and then before you know what's next, he starts leading you up through the mansion. And he starts to he leads you up through one of the mansion, up to one of the upper windows, and he places you on a narrow ledge and laughs. "If thou wouldst know of the mysteries, you must trust me."
I mean, you just tried to drown me, man. That's not cool. He'll make the mistake and look down. How far up is he?
You're up. You're one of the upper windows. This high up, a fall would definitely kill you.
Oh.
And he says, "Walk toward the edge. Prove you trust me if thou wouldst learn of the mysteries."
Because he's a fellow scholar. Oh,
He's a scholar.
He's a scholar.
He's a scholar.
He's a scholar.
You don't fuck around and find out without, fucking around.
He will start. He will walk to the edge and stop.
Okay, and then Casimir has you stare down into certain death, and he says this. He puts his head closer to you and says, "I could compel thee to jump at any time. Thy life is but a flickering candle flame in my hands." And on that note, we will leave Sasha right there, staring down at certain death, and transition over to Alonso. Then we go to Alonso, and we go to Alonso. All right, so Alonso, the person who comes to you is the one introduced as Lord Leopold Valdemar, and so he corners you somewhere away from the others. He uses his body to make sure you can't go anywhere, and so he begins asking you some questions, seemingly irrelevant. What makes the sun rise? What do you think of Aristotle? Why do birds sing? Is it better to be feared or abhorred? What is life?
Damn, I wish I could have caught all of those.
Okay, so the questions were, what makes the sun rise?
Oh,
What do you think of Aristotle? Why do birds sing? Is it better to be feared or abhorred? What is life?
okay. I don't know what makes the sun rise, but I don't particularly care either. What's the second one?
What do you think of Aristotle?
Oh, I haven't read enough of him, but what I did read was boring and didn't really pertain to me at all.
Why do birds sing?
It's to mate.
Is it better to be feared or abhorred?
Feared.
What is life?
Oh, mostly suffering, a good wine, and laying with someone else.
And I would like you to roll wits stealth.
Oh, it's stealth. Okay. I have the specialty quick on his feet. Does that help for wits?
For I'll say for this one, yeah, I'll say it applies. So go ahead.
Okay, so it's gonna be 6, 60. Oh. Uh-oh.
Oof.
Yeah, okay, nothing. So, you don't notice anything going on. He just questions you more and more. And the next questions he asks are, is light more than the absence of the dark?
Ooh. No, the dark is its own thing.
Who is your shadow?
Oh. A life I left behind a long time ago.
And why is darkness?
I don't know. I really need to answer that question, though. I've got this rock, and it bleeds black sludge.
Actually, during that, actually, if you you notice something, you feel something wet in your pocket as that thing is bleeding black sludge. It looks almost like it looks almost like it's resonating, because before you even realize what's happening, shadows have covered you completely, and you suddenly can't see anything.
Oh, I have dark sight, though.
Okay. Then you can suddenly see through the shadows. But what you can see through the shadow is it tells you that orb is glowing and bleeding that black substance. And then as you try to move, you find that you can't, as Valdemar just starts laughing, and then just turns around and walks off.
Oh. Damn it.
And he leaves you there.
Sounds about right.
As
Seems legit.
or resonates and bleeds. Bleed. And I think that is a good endpoint. Everyone's had their vinaigrettes, and everyone's had their
Vignettes.
vignettes. I think everyone's had their vignettes. Yes.
I think the only one to succeed in theirs is Nico.
I am standing on a ledge.
I mean, succeeds,
I don't even
right,
know what happened
but I
to
think.
mine. I don't even know what my guy did. He just kind of like wandered
Oh,
off.
yours isn't done yet.
Okay.
Don't you worry. Yours is gonna continue. Don't you worry.
I figured.
But I just wanted to get everybody into like a spot where we could into